Hello and welcome to The Buzz. Today we're diving into senior life here at Waynesburg University. We have a panel of 4 seniors to discuss all things Waynesburg, whether it's dorm life, activities on campus, and things in the Department of Communication as well. Things like productions, TV operations, things that we've done here, as well as our plans after Waynesburg. You don't want to miss it. Stick around. You're watching The Buzz. Hello and welcome back to The Buzz. We're going to get things started here by discussing our time at Waynesburg, what it's been like to live on campus, do activities. And we're going to start off with Jeremiah Miller, senior sports media major here in the department. Jeremiah, you didn't have to go very far for school. You're a lifelong resident of Greene County. What's it been like to go to a school so close to where you're from?
You know, it's been nice. I do get to see my family, and that is a big deal to me, getting to be with my mom and dad. So the locality was a big part in me looking at where to go to school. I didn't want to commute at first, I'm not going to lie, but it ended up being probably one of the better decisions I ended up making here. But, it still didn't impact my experience here at Waynesburg. I know like a lot of commuters kind of deal with that at first, kind of feeling they don't belong. And I thought that would be the case, but as the three of you know, really you get immersed in this department. You kind of have to be here. And, up until this semester now with my work schedule, I was here 8 to 10 hours a day. The only thing I really went home for was to sleep, and then I'd get back up and do it all over again. So, so my life's been, I've had, I would say, a normal college life and a college experience. Just I get to go home every night.
Haley, the two of us have kind of taken sort of a similar path to get here. We both came in not as communication majors, looking at something in STEM. So what kind of prompted you to make the switch from a STEM field to the Department of Communication?
Well, I was really into marine biology at first, and then it was the math for me that did it. I took one math class, and then I took another one, and those were my last ones that I've had to do. And after I took those math classes, I was like, I should probably change my major. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, let's just go calm and see how it goes. And then I discovered what I wanted to do and kind of worked my way around it back to the oceans.
Yeah, so speak a little bit about that, how, you came in with this really interest, you changed your major, but still found a way to accomplish your dreams with your new major.
So I was super determined to work with marine life and be in the ocean all the time and with scuba diving, but I looked at Shark Week the one time I was at the beach, and I was like, wait, someone has to be recording these videos for Shark Week. And so I was like, I looked into it, and then I realized this is actually a part of the communication department, videography, just underwater. So that's how I worked my way around it.
Well, Madelyn, I guess the same question goes to you. What's your experience at Waynesburg been like? How has it shaped you? What have you gotten out of it? Just what's it been like to be a student here?
Yeah, so Haley and I have a very similar experience. We both, I came in undecided originally, kind of knew I wanted to take up marine biology, and then chemistry took me out, the math and chemistry, as well as another math class. I had to drop 2 classes, and I was like sitting at 10 credits before that semester ended in the fall of our sophomore year. And I was with my roommate at the time, was a communication department student, so I was like, okay, I kind of been up on the 4th floor a little bit. I am not as familiar as I'd like to be, but let's just shoot in the dark. I got in touch with Melinda because I was taking one of her 101 classes. Yeah. And I talked to her after, I think, my first class with her, and she kind of gave me a couple, pushes, like, you should join us, because I was very interested in what you wanted to do, underwater videography. I was scuba certified at the time, so I was like, okay, communication, this might be it. There's no math, it's perfect for me.
So as an electronic media major, what are some things that really made you shift? Because there's a lot of different things you can do in the department. What really stood out to you as something that made electronic media so interesting to pursue as a major?
I really think no math was a big thing for me, because I hate it, I really do. But the fact that this degree is so versatile, you can really do anything with it. Television, radio, production, direction, anything like that.
So going back to Jeremiah, there's a lot of different classes that are offered here, and it all goes back to being a liberal arts institution where you have to get an understanding of a lot of different things. And the goal is, of course, to become a better, more well-rounded person, not just someone good at the field you're going into. So what have classes been like at a small school like this, Jeremiah?
That was one thing I disliked when I was coming in. I mean, it was something you have to deal with, and everyone has to if you go through here. The liberal arts aspect, where like you still have to take a math, like you guys alluded to. You took 2, you hated them. I didn't. Math was not my strong suit in high school. Had to take one here. It actually turned out probably be the best math class I ever took. Practical math for everyday life with Doc Silsky. If you ever get a chance to take it with Doc. He's only part-time now, but I promise you, best math class I ever took. But I didn't have any well, there's one class, I won't say it because I think we all can probably guess what it might be, but it was a gen ed. But outside of that one course, I really haven't had problems with my classes, and I'm no like bookworm or academic by any means, but the classes have been outside of the Department of Communication very good to me, very easy. And then the ones inside the Communication Department, it's up my alley, it's what I want to do, so the classes have come pretty easy to me, honestly.
I think Jeremiah came up with a really good idea there, giving his favorite gen ed class. So I'll come back to you guys and ask you the overall experience, but just real quick, Haley, what's your favorite gen ed class you've taken here?
I'm going to have to say ceramics because it didn't really use much of my brain, and I got to make pretty cool things. So.
Madelyn, what about you?
Oh gosh, if I had to pick, I honestly really liked Psychology 101 with Jellison. Yes, that class was super hard, and I don't know how I passed it, honestly. Freshman year, I had no clue how to study, but I was hitting the books like every single day with that class. But I enjoyed learning about the psychology of the mind and how you can kind of read people better. It was all very interesting to me.
I guess it's only fair if I answer as well. If I had to pick one, it would probably be pre-modern Asia with Batchelder. We got to read Confucius, the Tao Te Ching, things like that. That class, I don't know, it really cemented how much I love history, and it's become kind of a full-blown hobby for me at this point. But going back to you, Haley, can you talk a little bit broadly what it's like having classes here that aren't just in your major?
So I've taken a lot of gen eds, especially when I was a marine biology major for a good year I was. They were pretty simple. I know some of them were harder, like the maths and the sciences, and philosophy was a gen ed that I had to take, and it was probably the hardest class I've had to take here at Waynesburg. But other than that, all of the gen eds that I've taken were pretty simple, like ceramics, and psychology was easy. I took it with a different professor though. So, yeah. But other than that, the classes here in the comm department, I've enjoyed them, and they've helped me greatly.
And Madelyn, to you, what's the overall experience with the classes been?
I wouldn't say I've been one that's usually struggled in school. If I have, it's usually because I get lazy and I don't feel like putting in the effort. But up in the comm department, I've learned a lot. I think one of the classes that I will always have something to take away from was comm law. It was so interesting learning about law and how it coincides with being a communication student, especially if you're thinking about being a reporter or anything out in the real world that's of that nature. But classes here, I'll never forget, I have maybe 3 or 4 in my head that I could talk about, but we'll stop there.
All right, well, thank you guys. When we come back, we're gonna be discussing all things WCTV and WUSN, things like productions, memories, projects that we've done that we're really proud of. So stay with us, more buzz is straight ahead.
You're watching WCTV, where we aim to bring you the best local coverage of what you care about most. Everything from local businesses to hometown sports and the latest weather. We're keeping up to date with what you need to know about issues that affect our campus and our community. We're telling the stories that matter, celebrating our past, our future, and our potential. So tune in for all the latest buzz right here on WCTV Channel 14, Waynesburg.
Welcome back to The Buzz. Now we're going to be diving more closely into things that happen with WCTV, the WUSN, the Waynesburg University Sports Network, things that we've done here, whether it's projects, shows, productions, all things of that nature. And I have 3 people with me who have done a whole lot. And we'll start with Madelyn first of all. Madelyn, you've done a lot with WCTV. You've turned in a lot of stories. You've been on the newscast, on The Buzz, this show. You've been on many shows. How has that benefited your academic time here at Waynesburg?
I really liked being involved in WCTV and, excuse me, the radio as well. I really like making packages. It's something I've always kind of enjoyed doing. I'm more new at it since I didn't come in as a communication student. So I kind of had to fight my way and learn how to make these packages and progress. But I will never forget when we were in one of Melinda's 101 classes, and we were sitting at this desk and we had to read off the teleprompter. And I was sitting there like, don't throw up. I'm horrified. I was so scared, but it wasn't well. But it did not go well at all. I did it, and now I'm sitting here and I'm like, it's fine, because I have friends here to talk to, and it's really not as scary as people really make it out to be. But I've really enjoyed my time.
Haley, you've done a lot of different things with WCTV, whether it's being on air, you've directed some shows for my show, The Waynesburg Effect, that I produce. How does having so many different roles, how's that shaped your education as an electronic media major?
I think that being able to do a variety of different roles, like you said, like teleprompter to being on TV, from every single aspect, it gives you an opportunity to find out what you want to do and what you like. So I was able to say, well, I don't like to do graphics, but I love to direct. So, and then it well-rounded me too. If I ever end up working in a TV station, I'll be able to say, hey, I know how to do this and this. And so it just gives me a big opportunity to do different things.
Jeremiah, you were the executive producer of the Waynesburg University Sports Network. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that role. You really oversee a lot of the live productions that we do for sports here. How has that experience and leadership role defined you as a person?
Oh, man. I don't know how it defines me as a person, but I will say it's one of the best things I've ever done. Definitely here, probably in my life up to this point. It's a lot more than just running the productions. You got to think about who you can put, not only one to succeed, but also, you want to spread the wealth, because you want the freshmen, sophomores to be able to really get in there and get their hands dirty and be able to work and get immersed. And, they don't want to be a camera ute every time. No one wants to do that every time, let's be honest. You can make money doing it, but I doubt there's many people's aspirations that want to be a camera ute. But, it's been an honor. I've loved doing it. I worked my way up, like I said, from a ute to I was the instant replay guy, and then I got to become the executive producer, and it was a lot of fun. I'm going to miss it for sure. I don't know if I'll ever be in a leadership role like that again. But it was quite an honor to lead every sporting remote production in that aspect.
We'll stay on that side of the table and work our way back. But what is your favorite show on WCTV right now, or over your 4 years? What's your favorite show been?
I tell you what, I don't know if I can pick one. So I'll say Plead Your Case, because I was the co-producer last year for it, just because it's up my alley. It's sports, but shows that I've enjoyed to see how they have developed in my 4 years. This show being one of them has really come a long way. With Caleb Yager taking it over last year, and now Will Wilson, the producer now. Nerd Alert has really came a long way. That show has really been entertaining. And I'll tell you what, the Waynesburg Effect has really come a long way with its live election night shows. Those are a big deal here. Those are kind of we'll call them one of our Super Bowls, to throw in a sports reference. That's a big night here on the fourth floor. So to say one singular show, that would be hard, because each one, at least the ones I alluded to, I've been a part of, each kind of have a big event that it all kind of comes full circle on.
Well, as the producer of the Waynesburg Effect, I appreciate your appreciation
of
the show. Haley, what's your favorite show, or what are your favorite shows on WCTV?
Well, I do appreciate the Waynesburg Effect as well. I love directing that show too. I do enjoy The Buzz, of course. I like how it's a different variety and it's very conversational. But my favorite is probably Nerd Alert, because Nerd Alert is just fun, different little things. You'll talk about Star Wars, Harry Potter, or Disney princesses, all that different kinds of things I enjoy.
And Madelyn, same question to you. What's your favorite show or shows on the TV station?
Well, I never really do pick favorites. I like The Buzz. I like the newscast. I really like what we did for election night. Very big up here. Caleb did great. He's a professional. But yeah, The Buzz is always really cool, since it is, like you said, Haley, very conversational, and it's not you have to sit at the desk and you're staring at the teleprompter, I'm ready to go and read some kind of news story type thing. But it is good to learn, especially if that's what you wanted to do after you graduate. the very broad experience that you can gather from all these different types of shows really sets you up for success.
Well, as we all kind of prepare to leave the place, I'm sure we're all just kind of thinking, reflecting on what's happened, what we're proud of, what moments have been really special to us. So starting with you, Madelyn, what's one of your best memories that you have here?
Oh, geez. Where do I begin? One of the best memories, I think, goes all the way back to freshman year. Coming up to the 4th floor, it was like, if you haven't been up in Buell on the 4th floor, you don't really know anything about it other than you're like, okay, well, there's philosophy, there's psychology, there's whatever else in this building. You go all the way up to the top and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a TV studio. On the 3rd floor, there's a radio studio, there's this and there's that, and they'll look at all these MacBooks. It's really cool. Just kind of seeing that we have this giant outlet for all of this technology and experience you can gather was something that I'll never forget, just walking up here being like, oh my gosh.
Haley, what's one of your favorite memories with WCTV and/or WUSN?
I have 2 favorite memories, and one of them, of course, is the Dolan Buell. I love the Dolan Buell. It just brings us all together, and you just feel like really close. But my second favorite memory is in Melinda's class. I think it was comm law or no, one of Melinda's classes. But when everyone had to put makeup on.
Comm 110.
Yeah, Comm 110, yes. And all the guys had all their makeup brushes, and Melinda was just laughing. That was just it was a core memory here at the comm department.
There's a lot of things like that that really build the community and bring everybody together, because once you've seen your friends put on makeup, there's no going back.
Oh no, all the pictures and everything, no way.
So Jeremiah, same question to you. What's one of your, or some of your favorite memories, whether it's with WUSN, WCTV, or just the floor in general?
I'd have to say my favorite memory is probably just having to sit by Haley Sweeney on this episode of The Buzz, probably. Like, that ranks right up there. All kidding aside, you know, kind of the moments that I'll remember, like, all the WUSN games each have their own individual story that I'll always remember. But for me, kind of stepping out of my comfort zone with politics, and you giving me the opportunity, Micah, to direct the election night special this past year, which was a ball. Loved every second of it. That's something I'll never forget, because as I alluded to earlier, like, the election night is a big night up here. And getting the opportunity to direct that and have one of my best friends, Tyler Zeman, be able to TD for me, that was a special night we all were a part of.
Yeah, I've got to say that the election night special is probably my top memory up here. And I've never felt the mixture of excitement and also just dread and fear going into it, because you're live for 2.5, 3 hours, and anything can happen. But I've always said that my favorite day of the year is election night. It's like an 8-hour just buffet of live news.
It's funny you said that about, like, the dread going into it, because I know, like, we were all, like, so worried heading into that. And then I'll tell you the moment for me when I knew, like, this is going to be a good night. I think you'll agree. That intro we had, because it was just, you know, if you go back and watch it, it was just perfectly executed. You had, like, a little package and, like, signed off and then came back, and then you were in the back of the studio with a mic to intro on to Caleb, and then just Caleb doing his best acting job, playing along like he didn't know, and then looked up. Like, if you look back and watch that, I know we did, like, probably 30 times after we went off
right
the
after.
air. It was beautiful. But going back to it, when that happened and it was so perfect, I knew that night was going to be a success. Like, it settled. I think it settled everybody's nerves. Like, we didn't know how good it was at the time, but, like, just the cleanliness of it, like, getting it down packed. Like, when that happened, we all just kind of knew, like, this is going to be a really special night.
Yeah, and it just shows how important student involvement is here, because every single ounce of that show is student produced. Whether it was setting the equipment up, it was me and Will Wilson setting stuff up, content. We had probably 10, 12 panelists in total, which is a staggering number, and a lot of schools can't say that they put together an election night special that involved 12 people on air. That's pretty cool, and I'm really proud of everything that happened. But thank you guys. As we kind of transition away from the reflective side of it, we'll go into what's next. We'll discuss our plans after Waynesburg and what's coming next for all of us here. Stick with us. You're watching The Buzz. Hello and welcome back to The Buzz. For our last segment of the show, we're kind of diving into what the plans are after we graduate, where we're going next in life, what our future career plans are, and just where we want to see our life go after completing our education. So we'll start at the end of the table now, Jeremiah. Jeremiah, what are you planning on doing after you graduate?
Great question. No, so as most of you know, I've been at KDKA TV for going on 10 months, which is crazy that I've been there that long. I'm going to stick around there, still part-time a little bit after I graduate. It's been a great job for me. Even though I'm part-time, I still get 32, close to 40 hours a week. So I'm part-time, but my paycheck comes in full-time, so that's the best part. But but also, I just accepted a position in the fall. I'll be working as a production assistant for the ACC network through Pitt Athletics. So that's kind of where I want to end up, is on the remote production side of things and sports. Kind of work my way up to being a director. That's kind of the pathway I want to do. But where I see myself, I don't know. I always, when I came here, my aspiration was to work in sports. While I was here, I fell in love with television, more specifically television sports. So that's where I want to end up, is somewhere in TV sports. As long as I'm doing that, I'll be happy.
Haley, you've kind of had a radically different path than Jeremiah, and that you're more wildlife, videography, photography, especially underwater, where he's more sports. So what's your plan after you graduate?
So we graduate May 7th, and on May 15th, I'm wasting no time. I'm moving to Florida. I already signed my lease, and I am an underwater videographer for a dive shop. And I'll also be doing their social media, and I'll also be working in the dive shop as well. But I wanted to set it up like that because I do need 2 more scuba diving certifications to be dive master certified, and I'll be getting those through that shop as well. So I'll be doing videography for them, and then after I get my certifications and I kind of work for them for a little bit, my plan is probably to go back to South Africa. I enjoyed it so much there that I'd like to see my friends again and all the people that I made connections to. And then my end goal is to work for Shark Week. So, yeah.
Madelyn, where do you see your career going? Because you've had so many different changes along the way here at Waynesburg. Where do you see yourself kind of making your way through?
Right. Well, let me extend a congratulations to both of you. That's really awesome that you guys have that set up for you guys. For me, honestly, I'm not sure. I follow, what I really do is I follow my heart, and that kind of dictates where I'm going to go next and what I really feel like doing at the time. I really thought I wanted to be a reporter. That didn't really go my way. Investigative reporting, I think, is more my speed, depending on what market you're looking at. But I've kind of got my head in everything. I've had 2 years experience at WANB Radio, or Cool Country Radio here in Waynesburg. And I was at Fox, one of the bigger markets. I think they're at like 62 or 3 right now. But as for using my degree in a specific reason, I'm not quite sure yet. I know the other plans I have after college, other than just waiting to graduate, which is I'm very excited about. I think all of us can say that as well. But just kind of going with the flow and picking, not having to really stick with one thing for the rest of your life. I think people really forget that you don't have to stick with one thing. You can move on to however many jobs you'd like to, but that's what I'll be doing, is just kind of figuring it out.
And that's something that's really special about the degree you can get here, is it's so applicable for so many different positions. It gives you so many skills that are attractive to employers in really any field. Like someone working in broadcast sports, underwater videography. I've taken a job in news management. And all of us have a very similar degree, so being able to shape your own path with this degree, I think that's really special. So kind of staying in that vein, we'll stay with you, Madelyn. How do you think that your time at Waynesburg has prepared you to go out and basically, as you said, follow your heart, do the dreams that you want to achieve?
Right, so as most people do know, or people who don't know, if they've never heard of Waynesburg, it is a religious college, and they kind of, let you do whatever you will. If you are religious, you don't have to be religious to come here. Whatever. I've grown in my faith over the past couple months. I've grown in my faith in huge. I don't know what started that, but definitely something I want to continue with is to grow in my faith with my career as well. It's not only just in my own spirituality, but having kind of Christ throughout your life, I think will really lead you to where you should be at some point. So that's kind of what I'll be trying to feel out as well.
Haley, same question to you. How has Waynesburg prepared you go out and be a good worker, but also a good citizen in the community?
I think that Waynesburg really helped me grow as a person and kind of, it picked out my brain and say, what would I do in this certain situation? And so I definitely grew as a person, and just every experience that I got just made me super knowledgeable with a bunch of different little things.
Jeremiah, same question to you. How has Waynesburg prepared you to go out into the world and do your own thing?
Well, we talked about this being a liberal arts institution. In a sense, the communication department sort of is too. I didn't just, as a sports broadcasting major, I didn't take just all broadcasting courses. I had to take design courses. I had to take journalism courses. And like, for example, I despise writing, absolutely can't stand it. But I've written in the past for the Yellow Jacket, and now in my workplace, like, I'm writing scripts for other people, and that is very important, especially as a producer. You're going to have to do that more times than not. I'm going to have to edit things, going to have to design things. Like, it happens. Like, even though, like, you come just here for your specific thing, whether it be sports broadcasting, whether it be
Underwater
videography, yeah. No, but you got to dive kind of into everything to kind of force your hand in that way. You might not like it, but you're going to have to do a little bit of that things in your workplace, man. You might not even realize it.
Well, thank you all for all of the things you've done for the school, the department, even this show. Everyone here really appreciates it, and it's an honor to share this desk with you for one of the last episodes on WCTV this semester. So, again, thank you all for being here, and best of luck in your future
Thank
plans.
you, Micah.
Thanks, Micah.
You too,
as
Micah.
well.
You're the man, Micah.
I do my best. Well, that's all for today's episode of The Buzz. You can catch all of our episodes on YouTube at WCTV Waynesburg University. For all of us here at The Buzz, thank you for watching, and have a good night.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.